From 1845 to 1852, the Great Potato Famine was one of the darkest moments in Irish history, where millions died from mass starvation and disease, and some started new life, mainly in continental America. And how this incident happened in the United Kingdom. At the time, it was the wealthiest country before the United States, and we will talk about that. The origins of the potatoes was the first domesticated vegetables in the regions of modern-day southern Peru and extreme northwestern of Bolivia. Between 8000 to 5000 BC, cultivations of potato in South America may go back to 10,000 years. However, the indigenous people didn't use potato as food, but used them as ceramic pottery, often in the shape of whistle. In the 16th century, the Spanish Empire brought the potato from South America and introduced it to Europe around 1570s and introduced it in the United Kingdom around 1588 and 1593. The most potato produced in this area is in Ireland. The 1841 census shows up populations of just over 8 million. 2/3 of people depended on agriculture for their survival, but rarely received a working wage. They had to work for their landlords in return for their patch of land. They needed to grow enough food for their own family. This system forced Irish peasantry into monocultures, since only the potatoes could be grown in sufficient quantity to meet nutritional needs. The Irish did not own the plantations in Ireland, but they were owned by the rich British landlords or Ulster Scots people or the members of the British royal family who wanted their tenants to plant and eat the crops. It rose in popularity. By the late 17th century, it had become widespread as a supplementary rather than a principal food. The main diet was still based on butter, milk, and grain products. The expansion of economy from 1760 to 1815 due to the Napoleonic War had increased the demand for food in Britain. The tillage increased to such an extent there was less land for small farmers. The people shiftily adopted the potatoes because of its quick growth on a comparatively small space. By 1800, for 1 in 3 of the Irish population, potatoes had become a staple food, especially in the winter. Nevertheless, potato was the most popular food for the Irishmen. Around 80% of the Irishmen were eating 14 pounds of potatoes because the potatoes had vitamin C in there. The lack of genetics variability amongst the potatoes plants in Ireland and Europe was one reason why the emergence of phytophthora infection had such devastating effects in Ireland and similar areas of Europe. And then the terrors in Ireland began. Many people believe that the potato blight originated in Mexico and spread into neighboring countries and then Europe, making it disastrous for the farmer. Eating this blight potato made many people suffer and then die. In a few minutes, confronted by widespread crop failure, in November of 1845, the Prime Minister, Sir Robert Peel, purchased 100,000 pounds worth of maize and cornmeal security from America, with burning borders initially acting as his agent. The government hoped that they would not stifle private enterprise and that their action would not act as a disincentive to local relief efforts. Due to poor weather conditions, the first shipment did not arrive in Ireland until the beginnings of February 1846. In addition, Peel moved to repeal the Corn Law tariff on grain, which kept the price of bread high. But the issue split his party and he had insufficient support from his colleagues to push the measure. So, in December, he resigned from the premiership, but the opposition could not form a government and he was reappointed. In March, Peel set up a public work program in Ireland, but the famine situation worsened during 1846 and the repeal of the Corn Laws in that year did little to help the starving Irish. The measure split the Conservative Party, leading to the fall of Peel ministry. On the 29th of June, Lord John Russell became a Prime Minister. Russell proved inadequate as the crisis deepened. The new Whig administrations, influenced by the doctrine of laissez-faire, believed that the market would provide the food needed. They refused to interface with the movement of food to England. Then held the period's government food and relief work, leaving many hundreds of thousands of people without access to employment, money, or food. Russell ministry introduced a new public work program that employed some 500,000 by December of 1846, but proved impossible to administer. In 1847, Charles Terrarian, who was in charge of the administrations of government relief, limited the government food aid program. Because of a firm belief in laissez-faire, building workshops and soup kitchens funded by the Irish, but can't stop the famine. His racist views on the Irish was worse. He believed that the blight was a gift from the gods to punish those Irish, and he referred to the Irish as maggots because many Irish were Roman Catholics and the British were Protestant. Whilst famine has suffered in Ireland, the produce export to Britain did not stop the grains and cattle from being exported to Britain and Canada. The British government established public work for many poor Irish to work for money, and the landlords demolished the food homes of the Irish peasants. Many were staying at the workhouse. Most of the workhouse were 100% mortality rate of people who live in there. Diseases such as fever and typhus were erupted in this area. Crimes were the normal life of the Great Famine of Ireland. One journalist who wrote news on Great Potato Famine said he saw many people commit a crime, including murder, burglary, home invasion, rape, shoplifter, and even acts of cannibalism were normal in here. If they get captured, they will get executed or sent to the penal colony in Australia, where thousands died in this colony. However, the potato blight not only happened in Ireland, but it happened across Europe. For example, Belgium was another country which have a large production of potato. Still, when the blight came to Belgians, the Belgian government stopped exporting food and diverted help to those in need. But the potato blight in Belgium was not deadly as in Ireland. It is a sad story that many Irish people can't live in their homeland, so they flee to another country. Around 1 million of Irish left against and started a new life in another country that many people call coffin ships. Conditions of the coffin ships were worse. No light, no air, and many people died from starvation. Those Irish who live in France, Sweden, Spain, America, Britain, Canada, Australia, and South America were often by racism and prejudice by the locals. In the United States, there was hate groups that called themselves the Natives or the Bowery Boys. These people were quite to be anti-Irish, and especially their goal to fight against the Irish immigrants with using violent tactics as weapons. However, Irish who immigrated to the new land created Irish population worldwide. Large populations established themselves in major cities in North and South America, such as Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, Baltimore in the United States, Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver in Canada, Santiago in Chile, and Buenos Aires in Argentina. However, many well-known celebrities that you likely heard of were having an Irish descent too, such as Rebecca Ferguson, a Swedish actress and model, having an Irish descent. Jeanne Moreau, a French actress, a femme fatale of the 1950s, known for her roles in Juice and Jims and the 11 Days to the Gallows, having an Irish descent too. Che Guevara, an Argentinian Marxist revolutionary, having an Irish descent. Conan O'Byrne, an American TV host and comedian, having an Irish descent. Ben Affleck, an American actor, screenwriter, and director, having an Irish descent. Alexandra Daddario, an American actress and sex symbol of the 21st century, having an Irish descent. Tom Cruise, an American action star, having an Irish descent. Daniel Day-Lewis, a British actor, having an Irish descent. Nicole Kidman, an Australian Academy Award winner, having an Irish descent. Rachel Brosnahan, an American actress known for her roles in The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, having an Irish descent. Elizabeth Debicki, an Australian actress, having an Irish descent. Ruth Wilson, a British actress, having an Irish descent. Kelly Mulligan, a British actress, having an Irish descent. Greta Gerwig, an American film director and actress, having an Irish descent too. Jessica Chastain, an American actress, having an Irish descent. Even Robert De Niro's and Barack Obama's having an Irish descent too. Not only that, Irish people who immigrated to Scotland founded the Celtic team, which means is one of the most successful team in Scotland and the world. Queen Victoria was donated £2,000 to the Irish to stop the famine, and the Native Americans were donated money to the Irish too. Especially, this famine was quite to be the controversial event in Irish history, debated and discussion about whether the British government response to the failures of the potato crop and the continued explorations of food crops and livestock constituted a genocide, remained a subject of political debate in Ireland. In 1997, Prime Minister Tony Blair apologized to the Irish for the failures to stop the famine. However, the Great Potato Famine in Ireland was not a genocide or murder through starvation, but it's a failure of the British government to stop the famine. But sadly, however, in the world, there was recent famines that quite to be erupted around the world. The similar famines to the Great Potato Famine, including the Holodomor that happened in the 1930s and the Great Leap Forward that happened in the late 1950s in China. Especially these two infamous famines, I will make it in the another video. And that is the video. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to the Heart of Darkness. As some part was inaccurate, I will apologize about that. And thank you for watching of this video.